Against the Ropes podcast.
Contra las cuerdas.
Against the Ropes podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. AtR podcast. Gio Garcia here. I'm alongside Christian Mosqueda. We got an action-packed weekend of boxing, and that means an action-packed show. We have a lot to talk about, obviously. Probably the biggest women's boxing fight in history, and Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano, the trilogy. Got a good undercard on that as well. We got some action on Saturday. So, Chris, let's get to it. Welcome back to the show.
Welcome back to the show, guys. Yeah, Joe, you said it, man. And all women's card, unheard of. We got to give Jake Paul his flowers for putting this together, Gio. I think outside of Turkey Alashik, you got to give him some props for what he's done for the sport. Hate him or love him, he's getting things moving, and he's putting eyeballs on the sport, Gio.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and begin with Friday's action. Of course, we're going to talk, MJ. If we have a little bit of time, we're going to try to keep this one short. We have a ton of topics, so I'm sure we'll dedicate some time to this, but it's all about the women's boxing card this weekend, Chris. Look at that. The biggest purse ever in women's boxing history. They're both going to make a total of $18 million, $9 million apiece. The trilogy, Chris, give us your thoughts. We got to give our predictions on this one. They have fought twice already. Controversial, you can say, in the first two. Give us your thoughts on this one. They're making the most money ever. It's hyped. The two previous fights were fight of the year candidates. Can we expect something similar to this, Chris? What do you think?
Yeah, no, let me just start saying, without the controversies, Gio, those two last fights were both fights that were classics. Again, obviously, there's some controversy in the decision on especially the second fight, but I mean, you take that aside, dude. Those are the two best fighters. I would say top five for sure in all of women's boxing, historically speaking, pound for pound, two of the very best to ever lace them up. So the fact that they're getting paid that much, Gio, $9 million a piece, like, dude, kudos to them. Again, props to Jake Paul for being able to get them these kinds of bags. Again, I'm excited to see fireworks. Hopefully, like I said, without the controversy this time around, hopefully there's a deserved winner. But yeah, man, again, I want to say Amanda has a little bit more to prove this time around. But again, you can never count out Katie Taylor. But I'm expecting fireworks, bro.
Yeah, and let's go to the odds for that fight. I was a little bit surprised, I'm not going to lie. Amanda Serrano is currently favored in the odds, ranging from 175 to 205. So she's got a good, decent lead there when it comes to the odds in her favor, and then Katie Taylor, the odds are around plus 145 to plus 150. So they have it pretty close, just like the two first fights. In my opinion, Amanda Serrano probably deserved, man, probably the first two fights. I think the first one, she was able to get to Taylor, hurt her a couple of times, and I think that was a big difference. In that first one, in a very even fight, Serrano, I think, um, the big difference was she was able to hurt Katie Taylor. She did a little bit of the same in the second fight as well, but that cut kind of overshadowed everything. It was a little difficult for her. But even then, I know a lot of people felt like she pulled it off. She could have easily been 2-0 up against Katie Taylor. And in that first fight, I was rooting for Katie Taylor. I thought she was going to win the fight, but I thought Serrano pulled it off. And then in the second one, I thought Serrano did enough. So this called for a trilogy. I'm happy for them. They made a ton of money in the last fight. They're going to make more in this one. It's going to be on Netflix Friday, prime time. A lot of eyes on this fight. We'll get into our predictions a little bit. We'll get into the poll in a little bit too, but I'm expecting another tight fight and hopefully no controversies. I think Serrano's going to be more motivated than ever. As I said, she probably feels like she could have been up 2-0, but this is a big moment for both of them, really.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with the odd makers, Gio. I think Serrano obviously going 0-2 on paper, she's gonna have much more motivation to at least try to steal that last one. I want to say a la Marquez. People remember. Obviously, they remember classics, but you're gonna remember who's the one that got the last laugh. So I'm sure that Amanda Serrano's got a little bit more motivation. She's got a little bit. She's a little bit hungrier in the. Just to walk away with the win this time around. I'm gonna disagree with you, Gio. I obviously on paper, Katie's 0-2. If I had to be real, I think they're one apiece, Gio. This is why I want to feel like this third one should decide who is the rightful winner. Again, first one is probably the most competitive of all the fights. I slightly gave it to Katie Taylor. I think Amanda Serrano just gassed that a little bit. If she would have stuck to her boxing, I think she would have been the outright winner. The second one, she did exactly what I wanted her to do in the first fight, and to me, she was robbed at that second fight. She should have been given the nod in the second fight. So, obviously not on paper, but at least in my mind, it's 1-1 apiece. So again, I feel and I agree with you with the bookies. Amanda Serrano is a slight favorite in this fight. I just think obviously the age for Katie Taylor is gonna show up come fight night. But again, you never know. Maybe Katie Taylor is gonna have a great performance and she's gonna reverse time a little bit and make it hard for Amanda. Nothing's given, nothing's earned. You have to do it on fight night. But I'm excited for this one. Again, two of the greatest women fighters of all time getting it on one more time for a career high payday of $9 million. Plus, there's a bonus I heard. So again, yeah, this is the time to cash out.
Yeah, which Amanda Serrano declined. She said she wouldn't like a bonus. She felt like the women on the undercard deserved it. They're already making $9 million, so that was a very
Right.
honorable thing for her to do, to say, "Hey, take me out of this competition. Give it to somebody else." But 2022 was the first fight, split for Katie Taylor, and then the last fight was last year in November. And that one did very well, garnered a lot of attention. They made a lot of money. Katie Taylor won a unanimous. So, yeah, I think there's unfinished business there. Katie Taylor, 39 years old, 24-1. And Amanda Serrano, on the other hand, 47 and 3, 36 years old, a little bit younger. That power really is a big difference. Katie Taylor only 6 KOs. Amanda 31. And you could see it in the fight, between these two ladies. Serrano was able to hurt her. And we're gonna, Chris, get your prediction ready, because we gotta give it, we gotta jump in the deep end, give our predictions. But before that, let's go ahead and look at the poll, which, look, I haven't even clicked on it yet. All right, so I don't know what the poll is looking like. I'm gonna go ahead and cast my vote live. 200 plus votes at the moment. Go submit your vote if you haven't already. And I'm gonna get my prediction, Chris. I'll go with Amanda Serrano. 65% of our audience is going with Serrano, 35 with Katie Taylor. That seems pretty on par with the bookies too, who have Serrano as the favorite. I'm a little surprised by that. I'm a little surprised, but I think, as you said, Serrano, as Big Bro said in the comments as well, Serrano probably should have had a W against Katie Taylor on her resume. I think she's gonna officially get it in this fight, but you never know. Let's see how Katie Taylor is able to adapt in this one. She is older. She, in the last fight especially, I think she looked a little tired at times. I think that age is getting to her. She had a great preparation. She had her good friend of the show, Right Hook Roxy, in her camp. Strong southpaw, just like Amanda Serrano. So I know the preparation was A1. But I think Serrano is going to want it a little more. I think she might be a little fresher, even though she has a lot more professional fights. But I do feel like that cut in the last fight played a major role in the final outcome. And if we don't get any of that, which is not a guarantee, and I'm not a big fan of how Katie Taylor rubs her head on Amanda Serrano's face. She did it repeatedly in the last fight. She got a point taken away for it. I think Amanda Serrano will be ready for everything. And I think she might be going for the knockout. I have Serrano winning by decision, but I don't think she wants to go to the scorecards.
Yeah, no, I agree that Amanda Serrano's favorite and she should be favored, and obviously the youth and that hunger to just get that W is gonna be the deciding factor. Um, I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna lock in my W for Amanda Serrano on decision. If it was a 3 minute round kind of fight, I think she gets the knockout. The fact that they're fighting 2 minutes, I feel like there's not enough time. If she's able to get the knockout, again, props to her for getting it. But man, I'm not fully convinced, Gio, because there's some fights, and I agree with if some of you guys saw it 2-0 for Amanda, and those judges still favored Katie Taylor, the media darling of the women's division. If I had to put the house on it, I wouldn't outright say Serrano. Again, there's politics involved. There's favoritism. We already know the judges, how sometimes that goes down. So I'm not fully convinced, but hopefully Amanda Serrano is able to make it clear as day. Hopefully she's able to separate herself, so I could get my W on our prediction sheet. So again, not fully convinced because again, judging, and we've seen that story before. But at least for now, I'm gonna lock in for Amanda Serrano to win by, I'm gonna say, via split decision, Gio.
All right, there you go. Official predictions. We both got Serrano by decision. And big shout out to all the ladies on the undercard. Shout out to Alicia Baumgardner. We got to get her on the show one of these days, Chris.
Yeah,
But
yeah, she's a good one, man. She's a good fighter. She's a good fighter. We gotta get her on the show.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, she'll be on the undercard. She just signed to MVP as well, so they've been promoting her a lot. This is going down New York Friday night on Netflix. All right, so go check it out. Before we move on to some of the other topics here, let's go to another poll. Let's go to some comments real quick, actually, because Maton is checking in. He says Taylor is getting the W again. Serrano should have lost to Erica Cruz, he says. He's got Taylor, he says. Oh, we got someone else asking about Inoue versus MJ. We'll get into that. I got Taylor by, what is that? A sheep? I don't get it. Explain yourself, Maton.
By a goat? I don't know. Is that a goat or a sheep?
I can't tell.
Uh,
Might be a goat.
Again,
Might be a goat.
Gio, we might see something on TV. I don't know. Again, it's when you see a fight live, and if you're a judge, you're getting different angles. And obviously, again, the media darling, the biases, like that. We're all human nature. They might say they're trying to stay unbiased, but if you have a favorite, it's gonna influence you a little bit. So again, even though the bookies, even though many of the experts, logic says that Amanda Serrano's gonna win, you got to tune in because man, it's not over until they read that third judge's scorecard. And again, even if I see 8-4 Serrano, you just never know, bro.
Yeah, so Yeah, that's that for that fight. We got to keep things moving here. But let's get into the poll that I was mentioning because there's a ton of fights in July. And one of the questions for the poll was, which fight are you looking forward to the most? This fight only got 14%. I thought more people would vote for this fight, but only 14% at the moment. Berlanga Sheeraz, 13%.
Okay.
Zepeda, Stevenson versus Zepeda, 35%, and barely edging it out, Usyk versus Dubois, 38%. I didn't even include the Manny Pacquiao fight in this one, so I'll include that in another poll. It would be interesting to see if people are actually interested in that one. I know Bam Rodriguez is also fighting in July, so yeah, it's gonna be a great month, Chris. Um, we also got a good undercard for Saturday's fight, but before that, Inoue Akhmadaliev, just to move on from Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, as we mentioned. Huge fight on Netflix. They're gonna be making $9 million a piece. Those ladies, so shout out to them. Not mad at them getting paid. Shout out to Jake Paul as well. I know you watching Jake. Shout out to Jake Paul, man, getting everybody paid. But another guy who's been getting paid, Inoue. He'll be fighting against Murajan Akhmadaliev. MJ, Chris, you're very close to that camp over there with Coach Joel Diaz. You just interviewed him. I'm not sure if you spoke about this. I know he spoke about this fight in the last interview that we posted. But what would you say is the overall feeling in that camp? I know they just fought him with our other friend of the show, Ramon Cardenas, but they feel like MJ can be a dangerous opponent for Inoue.
Well, yeah, let me just say, Joe, yeah, I just wrapped up a interview with Coach Joel Diaz. We had a little fun, top 10 greatest American boxers interview. And this news actually dropped after that interview. So, he's the type, Coach Joel, he's old school. He's the type to be one of the last ones to know. We were just joking after that interview that Ramon was getting, messages like, like he was fighting some other Japanese fighter, and like he's texting Ramon back and forth. So he's like, "Hey, I heard this is happening. Is this true?" Like again, Joel Diaz is an old school, coach. He's not a businessman. He's more of like the bells and whistles of the sport. So he probably got this news right after that interview. So I'm actually going to see him again tomorrow. I'll pick his brain a little bit more on how he's feeling with that. Obviously, MJ, he's trained by Joel Diaz's brother Antonio, so definitely gonna have to pick his brain about that. But of course, they've said time and time again that's a fight that they welcomed. Obviously, MJ a different fighter than Ramon. He's got different attributes. Always a tough assignment fight facing somebody like the pound for pounder Naoya in a way. But just the way they did with Ramon, they're facing this one head on. Of course, the payday is the byproduct of all this. Of course, they're chasing legacy. They're not going in there to lose, and so I'm sure they're going in with that same mentality that they approached the fight with Ramon. So yeah, man, I'm excited to talk to him tomorrow. I'm working out there with Coach Joel Diaz, sweating just as much as these guys, if not more. But yeah, man, I'm excited to go and talk to Joel, Coach Antonio, and pick their brain about this newest opportunity. Second go at the monster, Gio.
September 14 in Japan. We'll talk about it in weeks to come. All right, but let's go ahead and move on to some comments. Let's not ignore the comments. Big Bro says Monster within 6. Maton clarifying he got Taylor by head ramming, he says. That's what that means. That makes sense now. That makes sense. He's mentioning Puello versus Matias. Yeah, let's get into that. Saturday, we got more action on Saturday. So let's go straight to that one. Oh man, I don't even know what to start, which one to start with on that one. Let's just go to the event here and see all the fights that we have on there. That's going down Saturday, July 12th, Queens, New York. It's a little weird because they're saying that Shakur and Zepeda are headlining, but Berlanga and Sheeraz are pretty much getting in the promotion aspect, they're getting promoted as the headliner. So I guess co-main event, they're going to call it Shakur Stevenson versus William Cameron Zepeda, Alberto Puello versus Uriel Matias, David Morrell is back. And of course, Hamza Sheeraz versus Edgar Berlanga. Let's go to um some questions on the poll first before we get to our predictions and our thoughts on these fights. Because I did post those polls. Let's rewind to this one, Chris. We talked about it a little bit last week. The Jake Paul, we mentioned him earlier, so let's talk about this briefly. 500 plus votes. Jake Paul has been ranked number 4 by one of the major sanctioning bodies at cruiserweight. Does he deserve to be ranked? 86% of the people say no. 14% say yes. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, definitely not surprised. Again, no disrespect to Jake. I think he's done honorably with the time he's had in the sport, the entertainment factor he brings to the sport, the eyeballs that he brings to the sport. I did say he does deserve to be ranked, but not that high. Obviously, it's a business decision. Obviously, we know that he brings in a lot of money, to the powers that be, to the promoters, to the networks, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, man, I don't agree he should be ranked that high. But I mean, it's a business, right? And that's something that Coach Joel touched on it. The difference between uh, the old school boxing and today's boxing is a business, and business trickles down. And if it makes dollars, it makes sense. So yeah, that's the reason why for the ranking. Don't agree with it, but I mean, it's
All right,
an
Chris.
emerging gray area, dude.
You spent more time than I wanted to on that. Not sure why, but that was one of the polls. And then, of course, we got Puello versus Matias. Matias, who had that loss against Liam Paro. And then Puello, who obtained some important victories. Let's see how that fight is looking, because Puello is actually listed as a favorite slightly. Actually,
Interesting.
yeah, they have him as the favorite on many of the sites, but it's very even. One of them, DraftKings, has him at -20, Matias at -105. So it's very even, very, very even. And this is going to be a very good fight, because look at Matias. He suffered his second loss, as I mentioned, to Liam Paro last year, 2024, June. Obtained a couple TKO victories since. He still has those 22 KOs and the 22 wins. 33 years old, Subriel Matias, who was supposed to get a big fight, possibly against Teofimo Lopez or any of the other guys, top guys at 140, suffered that loss, and kind of got not to the back of the line, but maybe to the middle of the line, and now he has to fight Alberto Puello from the Dominican Republic. He's 24-0, 10 KOs. He's 30 years old. He did obtain a good victory earlier this year in March versus Sandor Martin by split decision. Before that, he also won a split against Gary Anton Russell. So he's got some good momentum going on. So this one, I believe this one's going to be tough for us to decide, Chris.
Yeah, no. First of all, let me just say I'm a little shocked with the bookies that they have Puello a slight favorite. I know it's gonna be competitive, and like you said, I know Puello's got the momentum going. We see all that green on his box track. I agree that he's got momentum, but man, Gio, I'm gonna say the bookies know something that we don't know, because I agree with the poll. I think I saw something about Matias being a 60% favorite to like 30 late, high 30s, 40s. So I kind of agree with our chat. I was kind of moving towards that way. The the style wise, even though Puello's very, formidable, respect his style, I kind of see this favoring Matias. So I got a feeling that bookies know something we don't know, Gio.
Who you got? Who you got?
They're sending their guys out there to the island, something that we don't know. So I would have favored Matias, but now I got to think about my decision, man. What do you think?
Man, who do you want? That's all I got. I want to know, Chris. I know my prediction.
I'm a. They know something I don't know, but I mean I can't go against the once mentioned boogeyman. So I'm gonna say Matias, man. I just think the bookies are gonna get it wrong this time. Matias by, I'm gonna say it, bro. I'm gonna say Matias by TKO.
All right, that's very, very possible. I'm gonna say Matias by decision.
Okay, not mad at that.
I think he's a good boxer. I think he has good experience. I think he'll be able to survive, but the The KO is very possible. Also, Matias getting outboxed is very possible. We saw it recently. So I'm as confident as the guys who made the odds, man. I'm almost split down the middle. But yeah, I think this is a very important fight for Matias. I think he's gonna treat it as such. Maton has Puello by decision. Not mad at that. That's very possible as well. But I'm going with Matias too. I'm going with Matias. We're both going with
Yeah,
Matias. We're both going with Serrano by decision.
yeah, and again, Puello's underrated, man. I'll say that much. He's not a huge name, obviously not a mainstream name. He is known by the boxing fan, but I don't think he gets the respect that he deserves. Again, he's got that momentum going, so and this is a great way for him to make a bigger name for himself. So hey, prove us wrong, man. Prove us wrong.
Yeah, if he's able to defeat Gary Anton Russell, Sandor Martin, and Subriel Matias back to back to back, like y'all better put some respect on his name. He might be that number one guy in that division, man, if he's doing that.
Agreed.
All right, let's move on because we have some more action. Here, let me pull it up for you. David Morrell should be able to get that victory. However, look on paper, his opponent is a very tough opponent. 10-0, 9 KOs. Nothing noticeable there on his resume, but David Morrell, who I believe he's still going to be around. I believe he's still going to be a player at 68, 75, wherever he chooses to fight. But this is a good challenge for him. I think he'll win that one. But let's move on to Shakur Stevenson versus Cameron Zepeda, Chris, because, man, when I posted that poll on our channel, I saw a lot of votes for Zepeda. And I think we're both going to strongly disagree. I think I know how you're going to lean toward in this fight. I could be wrong, but it's going to be very interesting right now when we look at that poll and see if more people started voting for Shakur. Camarón, who's 33-0, 27 KOs, 29 years old. This is his prime. He won a majority and a split versus Tevin Farmer back to back. So not as impressive. He stopped Giovanni Cabrera, Maxie Hughes, who's been stopped by everyone, I feel like. He stopped Mercito Gesta. He got some good stoppages there. He beat Jojo Diaz by unanimous decision, but I just think Shakur is going to be too much for him. Shakur is 23-0, 11 KOs, who last defeated Josh Padley. He was supposed to fight Schofield, right? In his last fight, Schofield pulled out. Shout out to Schofield, who got a very important victory, stopping Tevin Farmer in the first round last week. But, nothing too impressive, I would say, too, from Shakur Stevenson. He's still boring. No matter how you guys want to say it, he's still a boring fighter, but he's a very good boxer. It's hard to hit him. I think he's going to box the brakes off of Camarón Zepeda. But I think the only thing Zepeda has going for him in this one, not the only thing, but the most important thing I think is that he's a southpaw. He might be able to try to confuse Shakur a little bit. There aren't many southpaws out there at this level, so I think he has that going for him. He has the power. He's a guy with high volume punching, but I don't know if he's going to be able to find Shakur, who Turkey flirted with shrinking ring, right? Which I thought was pretty funny for Shakur. We'll see if it's an entertaining fight. As I said, Shakur's still boring. Let's call it what it is. He is boring, but he is a very good boxer, and I think he wins by decision.
All right, Judd. I'm gonna just call it what it is, man. Outside of boxing stances, this is the poor man's Floyd Mayweather versus Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. Man. Again, a lot of similarities between the Shakur Stevensons and the Floyd Mayweathers in style wise, boxing wise, defensive prowess. Obviously, Camarón Zepeda, he's got that swarming style. Come forward, lots of volume punching, lots of waist movement. But again, just a poor man's version of those two guys. And again, I agree with you, Gio. that stance that Cameron has. Unless that's I feel like that's one of the things that can give him some success, but not against a master boxer in Shakur Stevenson. And the only way I think Cameron wins is if Shakur is a boy, and then Chon Zepeda has that man strength that just overwhelms him. But I don't see that happening. I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, you got to give Cameron Zepeda his flowers, his respect. But I just don't see it. I think Shakur Stevenson is just levels above in that skill department. I think he doesn't take chances. He's said it time and time again. He doesn't care about the crowd really. He's just there to get that W, whichever way it is, even if it's boxing to a boring decision. So with that said, I don't see him taking chances early. He's just gonna lull this fight, and win by near shutout, in my opinion. Unless again you get some version of a Maidana, kind of fight that I just don't think Cameron Cepeda possesses.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree with that. Shout out to our boy Derek who's checking in. He says, easy work for my boy Shakur, boring or not, he's my guy, he says. Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I find him boring, but he can box, man. He can box. Um, Shakur going to school, Cameron, 9384 at worst, says Big Bro. Yeah, I agree. But hopefully Cameron can make it interesting, man. Maidana type performance, Chris, that might be a little too much to ask for.
Yeah.
I think what Maidana also had in his favor was the weight advantage. She was stronger than AB, but we'll see, man. We'll see. Hey, don't forget Maidana was also able to catch Floyd, so anything can happen. But we don't see Shakur slipping up too often.
Yeah.
Sliding counter says I got Shakur. I think Cepeda is a volume puncher, but he's not a swarmer like Maidana. And I feel like you got to fight like Marcos to be successful versus Shakur. Yep, I agree with that 100%. Maton also has Shakur by decision.
Yeah. What do they call it, Gio? Like, you gotta have no respect. No respect. And that's what Maidana had. And I'm not just saying like no respect inside that ring. I mean, even before you go into fight night, Maidana did not care about making weight. He said, I'm gonna pay the fees. I don't care. I'm gonna go in there heavier than you. The ABs of the world, the Mayweathers, they were like, all right, give me that fee, give me that money. I'm gonna still school you. And boom, we saw what happened with AB. So I think Cameron Cepeda is too much of a gentleman. I think he's too disciplined. Again, you gotta go in there dirty, to have a chance against a guy like Shakur Stevenson. I just don't think Cameron Cepeda is gonna get his hands and his reputation dirty for this one, and that's why I don't think he wins this fight.
49% of the audience are saying Shakur. 51 are saying Zepeda, Chris. Man, I'm surprised, man. I feel like our audience are very knowledgeable. They don't always go with their hearts. I have a feeling, Chris. I have a strange feeling that a lot of people voted with their hearts on this one. But hey,
Wait, how much was it again, Gio?
49 to 51 in favor of Zepeda.
Yeah, again, Cepeda's a very popular fighter. It's easy to go with that heart, but I mean, we're keeping it real, Gio. We're going with that boxing ability, and again, I don't know. Again, maybe they've been watching a lot of Cepeda tape, man. Maybe they're like, yeah, he's got little Marcos in him, but I don't see it.
Yeah, so there's that. That should be a very good fight. Do we have the odds here? Let me see what the odds are looking like. I would think
I,
that. Yeah, go ahead.
I would think it's probably minus 800 for Shakur. I'm guessing it's that much.
Dang. All right. So look, here are the ones I pulled it up, so I can't give you my prediction on that. But let's see. There's a lot going on here. DraftKings has Shakur Stevenson at minus 1100.
Yeah.
Wow. Plus 650 for Cameron. Caesars has Zepeda plus 680. FanDuel has Stevenson at minus 1200. Very, very wide. Wow. Can we see a KO? There's plus 220 for Stevenson.
I don't think he gets a KO unless he completely zaps Zepeda out of like his confidence to
Plus,
the point where Cepeda,
yeah,
yeah.
plus 1,000. Plus 1,000 if Zepeda gets a KO.
Oh, dang, that's again. Cepeda needs to be watching these Marco Maidana tapes on replay and like summoning that, calling him, be like, "Hey, yo, man, give me some of that energy." Because I don't see it happening, Gio. Again, he's got a very scary style. He's got a very come forward swarming style. It's gonna be like the Matador against the Bull, and I think your boy Shakur Stevenson is just gonna lull into a near shutout, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yep. That's what it's sounding like, and I feel like the chat agrees with that. Plus 1,000, I'll take that though, says Derek. He likes the odds. He also says, I think he can make it interesting. My heart rate will be high on Saturday night, he says.
Yeah.
Uh,
Again, one punch can change anything, Gio. Again, just because we're saying it's a near shutout and that's the probability, one punch can change anything. Again, people had AB way up on Marcos and we saw what happened. But yeah, again, I don't see Camarón being Marcos, and if he is a Marcos Maidana, I'll eat my own words and I'll say this on the next episode of the podcast that Camarón Zepeda, he's a spicy shrimp, man.
Hey, let's not forget though. Let's not forget Shakur got burnt today by Oscar. I don't know if you guys saw that clip, but Shakur was talking greasy. He said, "Put some money on it, Oscar. Put some money on it." And then Oscar wasn't saying anything, and Shakur kept calling him out. And Oscar said, "Man, you don't have enough money." And the whole crowd went crazy, and that was the end of that. But yeah, Oscar taking a lot of strays from Shakur, from Berlanga, but he got that one for sure. That was a 10-8 round for Oscar. He said, "You don't have enough money."
Damn, that's funny. I mean, Oscar is wilding, man, and you'll see in the interview with Joel Diaz, he dropped some bits on Oscar. Sometimes Oscar is misunderstood. Maybe we don't agree with all his life choices, but yeah, man, tune in for that interview, man. There was some pebbles, some gems dropped on Oscar De La Hoya and his recent personality antics. I'll say.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to Hamza Sheeraz versus Edgar Berlanga. Sheeraz 21-0. He got a draw in his last one. That was for a middleweight title. Now he's going up to super middle. Hamza Sheeraz, tall guy, man, 6'3". Basically outsized his opponents at middleweight. Still taller than Berlanga. Very long, no diddy, pause, all that. Long arms. That he pretty much has a reach advantage against most of his opponents. But 26 years old from UK. He's coming to New York, to Berlanga's backyard. Who's 23-1. He has that lone defeat to Canelo. 18 KOs. Let's not forget he had that crazy first round streak. Edgar Berlanga back when he was fighting with Top Rank ESPN. Made some noise back then, but lately we haven't seen too many, Chris. Obviously we saw it in his last fight, but his opponent not worthy of even being mentioned. And of course that loss to Canelo came last year, September, Mexican Independence weekend. Basically a shutout. 23-1 Berlanga. Not the biggest test of his career. Obviously, he lost to Canelo, but man, this is a tough one for him, man. Sheeraz, good fighter. I was not impressed by him, however, in his last fight against Carlos Adames, title fight. Split draw, I believe controversial. Probably deserved to lose that one. And I picked him on my picks, Chris, to win that fight. And I definitely don't think he won. And I was scratching my head when they called it a draw, but we'll see, Chris. I have my prediction made up. I don't know if you want to take a look at some polls or if you want to give us your prediction. Big Bro has his prediction already. He's saying Sheeraz by KO in 8 or 9.
What? Okay, I mean, all right. Let me just say,
what do you
Gio,
think?
let me just say I am intrigued with this fight. Obviously, like you said, Sheeraz is the bigger fighter. We know that he's going to try to box on the outside. Berlanga, smaller fighter, but a little bit more built. Obviously, this reminds me of a bigger version of a Castillo versus Chico Corrales they're just very intriguing kind of fights when it's a smaller, stronger guy against the boxer, like you said, the ranger, longer fighter. Those are very intriguing to me, Gio. So again, it just depends on who can execute their plan better. I do agree. I am with you. With I had Shiraz. I predicted him to beat his previous opponent, and I didn't see him, doing enough to win that fight. So that makes me feel like any of these pressure fighters give him trouble. He's a good boxer, just not as good as many people thought he was. So again, it's very, very competitive fight. I see this like down the middle. Even now, as I'm speaking about it, I'm like, who am I favoring? And again, let me give props to Berlanga for selling this event. Again, we do know that on name face value, Camarón and Shakur Stevenson should be main event, but just that entertainment value that Berlanga was bringing, talking shit to everybody, dude, that's what we want to see, man. That's what gets us excited about these events, man. We don't want to
Predictions,
see
Chris.
no
Predictions, Chris.
prediction time, man. Prediction
Stop
time.
trying to buy yourself time. Let's go. Hey, predict the odds first. I don't know if you've seen the odds yet. What do you think the
I haven't
odds
seen
look
the odds.
like?
I haven't seen the odds. Who's? I'm guessing Shiraz slight favorite, but I'm not fully convinced. What are the odds? I'm gonna say Shiraz maybe plus 150. I feel like it's close. What is it?
Wow. Hey, before we get into that, we're getting some interesting comments here. All right, so I got to read them.
I know.
Derek is saying, let me see. This will be the only time you will see me say this, but I want Berlanga to starch him in round 1. Maton says Berlanga getting this W.
Damn.
Derek says I'm suspect of Shiraz's chin.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I agree with that. Hey, something happens to UK fighters when they cross that pond, man.
Dang.
There's
You're
no
not wrong.
secret. It's no secret. But let's get to the odds. They got Berlanga plus 100.
Mm.
Sheeraz around minus 135. So they got Sheeraz as a slight favorite. It's not as close as the Puello Matias fight on the odds, but they do got Hamza Sheeraz, which is very interesting because, like I said, he just challenged for a title at middleweight in his last fight. So he's moving up now, moving up in weight. He's the taller guy, but probably won't be the heavier guy on fight night. Chris, we need predictions. Do you want to look at the poll first?
I'm gonna give my prediction now, man.
All right, go for it.
I think I feel like the chat just talking about it has convinced me slightly. I had it 50-50, but I'm gonna say Berlanga, man. I'm gonna say Berlanga. Not completely, sure of my decision, but I just feel like that last fight. And plus, you're completely right. When the UK fighters cross over, something happens during that trip on the flight on the boat right here. Something happens where they just get weak in the knees. So I'm gonna say Berlanga with all that energy, all that flair. TKO, man, right on the chin.
I'm going to go with Hamza Sheeraz, Chris. I'm going with Hamza Sheeraz. Not very confident in this one. I do think that Berlanga's power is going to bother him. Not very confident in my pick, but I'm going to say Sheeraz by decision. I think he has to use a jab, man. He got away from it against Adames. I didn't like that. When he used the jab, he was winning a lot of those rounds, and may I say, easily, comfortably, he was winning some of those rounds when he was jabbing. He forgot about it and got hurt against Adames. But, whew, man, this is gonna be a good one. I'm not convinced by either fighter, by Berlanga or by Sheeraz yet. But I'm gonna slightly favor Sheeraz by decision. Not very confident in that one, but we'll see. We'll see. Let's look at what the audience is going with. Over 100 votes so far. Right now, I don't know what the percentages are looking like, but I'm going to cast my vote for Sheeraz. And 57% of the people agree with me, Chris. 43% with Berlanga, or going with Berlanga. 57% with Sheeraz. So, this is going to be a tight one. A lot of the guys in the chat are going with Bernalgas, as Big Bro calls him.
Again, I'm not mad at it. Again, we favored, at least I favored the boxer in that Shakur fight. And this one, I'm facing the power puncher, the swarmer in Berlanga. Again, usually that swarmer type is usually I'm just gonna be a little honest. Usually, the swarmer types are not the highest boxing IQs. So if you box them, you should be able to box into a decision. Even if you get rocked here and there, you should be smart enough boxing style wise to win a decision. I just don't think Shiraz. Nobody likes pressure, of course, but I that Artemis fight kind of told me that he is not as good as what people predicted that he was. So still a very good boxer, and I think he should be able to box a Berlanga, but I I don't know. Something says that Berlanga is gonna catch him. Not 100% confident in that decision, but I don't know, man. He's got a lot of. I want to say that confidence is real, man. I want to. He better deliver come fight night, man, because I'm vouching for him, Gio.
Yeah, man, it's I think for boxing, I think a Berlanga win would do more. Bigger fights, Caleb Plant possibly. I don't think he gets a Canelo rematch, but and on the other hand, Shiraz, hey, they're already flirting with some of those British names for Canelo, like Eubank Jr. So I don't think Shiraz will be a name that they're just gonna ignore either if he gets that W. So yeah, very interesting fight, a lot at stake. But yeah, I'm going with Shiraz. You're going with Berlanga, and we'll see, man. That's gonna be a really good one. What else do we have before we?
Let me just
Yeah, go ahead.
let me just say, Gio. Let me just say, I think Shiraz, if he's not gun shy, he could easily knock him out. Really, if like you said, stand behind the jab, like that out there, lull him to a counter, he should be able to find that rhythm and put those punches together to hurt Berlanga and knock him out. I just think he's gonna fight a little timid, a little scared, kind of like Tyson Fury fought, the Bronze Bomber in that first fight. When he took the fight to him, that's when we were like, okay, blew him out. But again, I Shiraz, he hasn't convinced me, especially with that last performance.
Yeah, I agree. And hey, when things get tough, I want to see how Shiraz reacts. That's what I want to see. Derek made a good point. Let's see what that chin does, man. No Diddy. All right. He
Agreed,
ain't
agreed.
he ain't built for it. Say it, Christian, says Derek.
Them Philly boys, man, them Philly boys are built different, man.
All right. And I think that's all we got. Did I miss anything?
No, I think I think we touched base on everything. Again, it's a great boxing weekend for female boxing again, and all women cast. They get their own night a bonus. Like I didn't know about the classy move, by Serrano. Very classy on her part. Spreading the love for the other ladies there. You're already taking 9 million home. There's no reason to get greedy. I like that. So again, shout out to them. Again, we're gonna see a great fight in Camarón Zepeda. Hey, we're here to prove us wrong, man. Let's see if we can hurt the golden boy in Shakur Stevenson, make it an exciting fight. Again, that's how you win over fans. That's how the Marcos Maidanas of the world, left an imprint by silencing those naysayers. So I'm excited, Gio, for this week in July. Like you said, it's warming up.
Yeah, it's warming up. Come on, Derek. Come on, man. Getting flagrant in the comment section, man. Come on, man. Hey, but quick recap, July, that's Friday, July 11th. Don't miss it. Netflix, live from New York. The trilogy, biggest fight in women's boxing history. Alicia Baumgartner is on the undercard. Shout out to her, man. And the next day, Queens, New York, DAZN, Edgar Berlanga, Hamza Shiraz, Shakur Stevenson, William Zepeda, Alberto Puello, Subriel Matias, David Morrell versus Imam Khatev. All right. And then, man, next week we're going to have a great show as well, man. We got Manny Pacquiao making his return. We got Alexander Usyk versus Daniel Dubois, number 2. And we got Jesse Bam Rodriguez, pound for pound, against Fumelele Cafu. Diego Pacheco against Trevor McCumbee as well. Austin Williams is on there. So, yeah, man, July it's heating up. Xander Zayas at the end of the month. It's going to be great, all right? So we have another great show next week. Please tune in. Keep that chat lit as always. Chris, any last shout outs before we get out of here?
Yeah, Gio. I mean, I know that you don't like to get emotional, and I know this is a boxing podcast, but we know that we're also big fans of the sport of football, man. on your behalf. I know you don't like to get emotional, but want to give a shout out and respect for one of your boyhood teams, one of their all time players. Rest in peace to Diogo Jota, number 20. I know this was something unexpected, and it was a shock to the entire sporting world, man, not just football. So I know that obviously that's your team, that's your boy, brought you and your boyhood team a lot of great moments, and just wanted to show our respects to him, to his family, to his teammates, to all the fans in the world. Rest in peace, Diogo, number 20.
Yep. I don't even know how to follow that up, so I'm gonna just leave it at that. Um, Last thing, Devin Haney. I don't think we spoke about this. Is supposed to fight Brian Norman Jr. Right? Is that official, Chris?
I think it's in the works, but yeah, Brian Norman Jr., another guy that's just like under the radar. I think he should get a little bit more respect, but he's definitely a guy in that division, title holder. That he's making noise, man. Again, not a sexy name as those other guys in that division and in previous divisions, but yeah, man, Brian Norman Jr. making noise, man, and he might be my black horse when I want to place a bet. And if he's not favored, man, I'm gonna drop a little bit of money. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, and I just saw a clip before the podcast. They got into it. Security got involved and all this stuff. So, yeah, they're already selling that. Hey, if Turkey wants to fight, it's gonna happen. That's one thing we've learned over the past couple years. Um, they're saying, yeah, they don't have a date for that. Oh, yeah, they do. They're saying November 22nd. That's supposed to be that big card. David Benavides versus Anthony Yard. Jesse Rodriguez is already scheduled on that for another title fight. Abdullah Mason for a vacant belt too. And then they just added Brian Norman Jr. versus Devin Haney for Norman's WBO welterweight title. They're penciling that in already. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that? David Benavides fighting another veteran. I saw a lot of mixed comments on the internets. You know how I feel about him fighting guys who've already been beaten by the top guys.
Yeah, for me, like I want to say, I understand that it's tough for people to want to fight him. Having said that, you got to force the arm. Don't take any opponents. Uh, I get it. You have to stay busy, stay, working, moving. I get that, but at this point, you have a lot of power to pick and choose the right opponents. They don't always have to be the Canelos, but if you want for Canelo to finally answer, all these fights that you have moving forward have to be with formidable opponents. Um, yeah, that's all I gotta say. Again, I'm trying to back him up, but when he fights guys like these unknowns or past their prime veterans, it's kind of hard to defend him.
Yeah, and you can't go from talking all greasy, defeating Morel and saying, "Oh, I'm gonna fight for undisputed. I'm gonna fight Bivol or better Biv," and then choose Anthony Yard. Like, come on, man. I don't like that, but that card is supposed to be something, man. That card is supposed to be something. It's supposed to be in Saudi Arabia. You see all the names there: Jesse Bam Rodriguez, Abdullah Mason, Norman Jr., Devin Haney. So, yeah, Turkey's still doing his thing, man. Still doing his thing. So, we'll keep you guys posted on any of the fights that have been announced. They also announced Chris Eubank Jr. versus Connor Ben. The first one kind of seemed a little overdue. Some controversies there as well, but it was a great fight. So, I don't think many people mind it again because of that performance in the first fight. But that's supposed to happen September 20th. Yeah, that's what it's looking at like right now.
Yeah, again, Joe, I'm just getting excited for this this boxing weekend. Again, I know sometimes trilogies like feel like they're overdue, but you're gonna get a classic. We're gonna get a classic with Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor. They just have the biggest hearts. So again, we're gonna tune in for that. We're gonna see if freaking Camarón Zepeda can do something, can upset the apple card. And I want to say, Gio, if he wins, it's got to be upset of the year, in my opinion. I know obviously the Ryan Garcia's role is a little bit more, more name recognized in the mainstream, but come on, man. Everybody, including us, are writing off a Shakur Stevenson, domination. Boring domination, but domination nonetheless. So I want to see if there's an upset, man. Again, boxing is the theater of the unexpected. Can we get something unexpected?
Yeah, so that's that. Great weekend of boxing, Friday, Saturday, exciting boxing. So we'll be back, as I said earlier, next week to break it all down. Shout out to Maton. Shout out to Maton. Shout out to Big Bro. Shout out to Derek. Shout out to everyone else who was in the chat, man. Thank you guys for keeping it lit. Have a great night. Shout out to all you guys who will be watching the replay as well. We appreciate you guys too, man. We'll be back next week, man. Hopefully a great weekend of boxing. Get that money, Katie. Get that money, Amanda. Let's go, mates.
I'm gonna
Let's do it.
solo Jake Paul.
Torta is a great word.
Free Travis Jr.
Free our boy JCC Jr., man.
Come on, man. Free JCC. Vámonos, Junior. Pinche Junior.
Oh, here they come with the haymakers, man. Nothing good happens after 9 p.m.
Torta, man, you dog. Vámonos. It's just, you know, you.
Super torta. Yo, wow.
Let's go, Chuck.
Let's go, mates. It's the Mexican version of the Philly cheesesteak, man.
Brian, you know you're watching. Vámonos.
Let's go, mates.
Hola amigos, soy Juan Pastor Gallo AtR. Quiero mandar un saludo para mis amigos de Contra las Cuerdas. Échenle muchas ganas. Un abrazo, muchas bendiciones.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. You know what mine is? Let's box, bitches. It's almost fight night.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you for the support. Keep doing your thing. You're doing a great job. So thank you and best wishes.
Huge shout out to Against the Ropes.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you guys for the interview and hope to see you guys soon.
Against the Ropes, always doing the right thing.
Shout out to Against the Ropes, man. I appreciate you guys for having me, taking the time out y'all day.
Against the Ropes, #1.
Freddie Roach.
Thank you very much.